on the part of some workers who expected to receive this and have not. So if you could answer those, and I have another set of questions.
All right. In terms of your first question, has everyone received this? No.
She's particularly disgruntled by the lack of communication.
He's not the only pensioner who did not receive for the month of June. And I've been speaking, I've been here before 8:30. And I've been inside this disgruntled. And up until now, a manager, no one has come out to say, Miss, why? What's the noise? What's the...
Bless up, baby, our family and viewers. Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, Anne Isabel Rose. And in this one, opposition spokesperson on finance, Julian Robinson, presses the Minister of Finance, Fayval Williams, on the outstanding increments to public sector workers and even our pensioners who have not received their funds. Stay tuned for the details at hand. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. So with talks of public sector workers unrest, over 3 years unpaid increments, we see in action being taken by the midwives since yesterday over same, and the Ministry of Health saying that they're taking steps to minimize the disruption in the health sector. And so we've seen the Ministry of Finance basically rolling out a supplementary budget saying that they have added $10 billion to the current budget of $1.26 trillion. And the opposition spokesperson on finance, Julian Robinson, pressing Fayval Williams over the unrest as it pertains to the unpaid increments. Public sector workers are even complaining of, the different regions taking funds from their salaries that should be paid over to other financial institutions and same not being paid. I recently got a call from a police officer who is basically crying foul of the same argument. And that is unfair for them to be taking the people money that is supposed to pay for their mortgage, to pay for their loans and whatnot, and not paying it over on time. So who will pay for those arrears and those increases? You understand what I'm saying? And that is a big injustice onto the public sector workers. And so I have a few videos to show you of the exchange between Julian Robinson and Fayval Williams in the parliament. And even, relatives of pensioners speaking out that they have to wait until July month end to get their pension. And that again is another injustice onto our pensioners. Imagine working years upon years, decades upon decades for some, right? And when you're in your old age, some of them don't have children, some of them don't have any relatives in close proximity to help and to assist them. They keep saying that money is not the issue and money is not the problem. So on move with some alacrity, move with some hastiness so that the people them can get what is due unto them. It's unfair for them to work and to in their old age and to be waiting for 2 months at a time to get their pension. Likewise, our public sector workers and all other workers who are due their funds.
I just have a couple of questions. I'm going to deal with the first set. Can you state whether all categories of public sector workers who were entitled to receive what I would call the increments, the 3 years of increments, whether they were actually paid by the end of June? That's the first question. And if they were paid, whether they were paid in full. Secondly, could you state which categories of public sector workers were not entitled to receive the 3 years of increments? I do know that persons who would have been acting in positions or not in their substantive positions would not have been entitled. But are there other categories of public sector workers who were not entitled to receive this, and whether those categories were communicated to and with? Because there seems to be some confusion or misunderstanding on the part of some workers who expected to receive this and have not. So if you could answer those, and I have another set of questions.
All right, in terms of your first question, has everyone received this? No, because various ministries are at different points in terms of the information that is required to be submitted to the Ministry of Finance and the Public Services. So to the extent that a ministry has completed that exercise and funds have been allocated, you know, they would then proceed to pay. If they've not completed putting together the information on the employees or eligible for this, because remember there are 3 categories for these increments, depending on when you entered the service and how long you've been there. Right? There are 3 different categories for that. So
can I just follow up on that then? Can you state then, of the categories who are entitled, are you in a position to state what percentage or how many of those workers have in fact been paid and how many are outstanding? And I think the distinction you made is important, because to an employee not receiving it, they don't really care whether it's the ministry not prepare it or the central government not pay it out. Them just don't get their money. And I think it's important for that communication to be there, because I know there is some unease among people who expected to get by the end of June as per the agreement with the unions, and they are yet to receive.
well, I know that the bulk of persons would have received based on the warrants that were given to the MDAs. Again, as I said earlier on, the ministries are at different levels in terms of their information, their HR information. There are some ministries that are on the My HR Plus system, and they were able to submit their information right away. Persons were paid. There are others who, despite their efforts over the years, they're not there yet. So it takes them a lot more time to compile this information. And that's why we have been just drumming it into the MDAs, encouraging them to get on to the My HR Plus system, so they have a good handle
So is that optional
employees.
or is that mandatory?
It's not optional, it's mandatory, but it does take time because of the number of employees, especially at entities like the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the number of employees that are there. I can tell you that at the Ministry of Education, having been there and spent the last 4 years working with them to get onto that system, they were able to produce their information, and I haven't heard that there's an issue at that entity. But we're working with the other ministries to have them understand how important this is for them to have their data in the format where they can easily generate reports and manipulate that data, so that in moments like this, when you have to make big payments to many employees, it is seamless. And so that's what we're working towards.
Or you said bulk. Are you able to be more specific than that, to say whether it's 70% of the eligible workers, 80%, what number? Because there are workers listening who thought they would have gotten something by last week in the June pay period. They haven't received it. And they certainly would want to know that they're going to receive this in short order. So are you able to say that?
Okay, I can only say the majority. I don't have the specific percentage. I can only say the majority of persons.
All right. Can you say the categories that were not entitled to receive this increment?
Contract officers, for one. Those that are not aligned to the relevant scales are not eligible to receive, and there may be others, but that's the one that comes to mind.
So you can state that for those employees who are yet to receive it, the issue here is that their respective MDA has not submitted the information for payment to be made.
They may be in the process of, there may be any number of issues associated with it, but we have ensured that the funds are available. They're there and will be allocated once we get the correct information.
So would you be in a position to give a timeline as an outer limit on which all those outstanding payments would be made?
I'll just wait a word from the financial secretary. All right, so what I'm hearing from the financial secretary is that funds were provided to all. We would have to do our checks with all the particular ministries to see how far they are in their process of in their processing process.
Minister, it's important that there be communication to the unions on this. I understand what you're saying. It may not be a Ministry of Finance issue per se, but it is one government. And at the end of the day, the persons who are expecting to receive this quote-unquote back money haven't gotten it. And the things you're sharing, them not really business with.
So remember, when you consider, if you go back to March of this year, within the month of March, there was a lot of agitation about the circular to go out by the 1st of April about the increments. We sent out the circular. MDAs knew that they had to put their information together and submit it. Not all of them did in the time frame expected.
No, that's here the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that the communication for those who are outstanding, the MDAs that have not provided information, is important that be shared with the respective unions so that those persons who have not been paid have an understanding of why they haven't been paid, and that the issue is not that there is a lack of funds. But as I said, it is one government, and at the end of the day, they need to at least have a time frame by which they believe the outstanding payments would be made.
Sure.
What happened to my money? The question being asked by pensioners today following a delay in payments for June. The retired citizens showed up at the Accountant General's Department today for answers.
Scores of senior citizens gathered Monday outside the Accountant General's Department, the nation's treasury. Minutes turned into half an hour, and very soon turned into hours. Pensioners who haven't received their payments for June here to and from the building, only to be told payment pending. This man says he checked his bank on the date. He'd usually get his payments monthly. But this month, there was an unpleasant surprise.
Every month, my pension comes to the bank. And I went to the bank from the 25th, and up to now, I don't send the money.
5 days later, he tried another option.
So I went to Ministry of Finance, and then sent me up here. So I must go up here and investigate, I don't know.
His investigations haven't been fruitful, and so he's left feeling cheated.
We kind of want some money, so if you don't get your pension, like when you work a week time or a month and you don't get to pay, it make you feel away, it make you feel down.
This man was represented by his daughter. She says his pension life certificate was sent in. Pensioners are required to submit the certificate once every quarter. It's an official document used to verify that a pensioner is still alive and therefore eligible to receive a pension from the government. The woman says, like previous months, all boxes were checked on her father's part. However, she's particularly disgruntled by the lack of communication.
He's not the only pensioner who did not receive for the month of June. And I've been speaking, I've been here before 8:30. And I've been inside disgruntled. And up until now, a manager, no one has come out to say, Miss, what's the noise? What's the uproar? Up until now. Who is out here? Who is looking after the pensioner? They have worked already? Yes. They have worked already. So the money's supposed to be there.
She said eventually it was communicated that the payment for June will be issued in July.
Can they go to JPS, NWC? Can they go to the clinic, the private doctor, to say, Doctor, JPS, I don't have money? No. Can you wait until July when AGD release my money? No. They have worked all their years. I work with the Minister of Education. I am a teacher. I did my master's degree and all I got was $6,000. And when I came here and see the situation inside, with these older folks inside, how many of them have a daughter like me or somebody who was youthful like me to speak up on their behalf? If I didn't walk with a sandwich this morning for my father, You have persons in there who are diabetic, hypertensive. Who is nobody's walking around with a cup of tea or something, and he's sitting down, gonna wait until July month end to wait on something that he already worked for, put in the work for. This is crazy.
Second question or set of questions relate to the Accountant General's Department. For some reason, a large number of pensioners were not paid for the June month end in June. Pensioners who actually submitted their life certificates, and I have spoken to a number of them. I don't know what the issue is here, but it seems to be larger than the norm. And as I said, in this case, they submitted their life certificates. They are being told that they have to wait until the next pay cycle at the end of July before they can be paid. Now, we have to think about most employed persons cannot go 2 months without being paid. And pensioners are now being told, having missed the June payroll, that they have to wait till the end of July to be paid, which means going 2 months. Many of them don't have children or other relatives who can buy them over during this period. So I'm asking you to use your office to get the Accountant General to make the outstanding payments before the July pay cycle. It may require additional administrative work, but we can't ask people to go 2 months when they have done what they were asked to do. They submit their life certificate, so that's not the issue. But there are clearly other issues, and it is much larger. Every month you will have a small fraction outstanding, but for some reason this June period seems to be larger than others. I don't believe the issue here is lack of funding to the Accountant General's Department, but whatever it is, a lot of pensioners have not been paid. There hasn't been communication, and being told to wait to the end of July is really not satisfactory, a satisfactory response to that particular issue.
Member, I agree with you that if that's the case, then it's not satisfactory for our pensioners to wait until the next pay cycle. To be honest, I had not heard of this en masse until you mentioned it, so this is something I'll jump on and investigate. Yes, every month I may get a WhatsApp from 1 or 2 persons saying I have not received my pension payment, and of course I ensure that the respective department or entity respond to it. But it sounds as if you're saying more than the norm, and so I will definitely.
I mean, there was something on TVJ News last night, I believe on radio earlier. As I said, it is beyond the norm. You always operate with a very small fraction who may have issues, but I have spoken to a couple who submitted, got their receipts, so they have the receipts of their life certificate in hand, and for whatever reason they haven't been paid, and they simply don't have the funds to wait till the end of July to be paid.
I agree, member. It's unacceptable.
Please share your thoughts in the comment section, ABR family and viewers. Me you wanna say. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. On the road to 30K, help me to get there. Get this video to at least 7,000 likes. Please stay tuned for more videos. Stay tuned for more updates. Big up on yourself. Remember also to go over to Martha's Couponing Foundation and please to subscribe over there. Help that charity foundation to continue their charity work in sending barrels back home to assist those who are in need. As well as please go over to Pastor Ricky's YouTube channel at The Politics Corner TV and subscribe. Get him to 1,000 subscribers. Please and thanks.